Well, the purpose of the toe chart is to get you to think what objects you need to add to the form and what events you need to respond to. So we think of tasks, objects, and events, toe. I have here to the right the toe chart that I posted on the course homepage. Going to use that as a model. And I'm going to look at problem 9 on page 97, which has us create an application for Starbeans. And the interface should allow the user to enter two items, the number of pounds of regular coffee and the number of pounds of decaffeinated coffee that's going to be ordered. And then we should add those together and display the total number of pounds of coffee ordered and the total price. So normally at this stage, what we're thinking about is getting the input, processing the input, and displaying the output then. So I'm going to come over here into task and think about, well, what is the input? So get user information is the same as what is the input. So what do we need to get? Well, we need to get how many pounds of regular coffee they're going to get. So regular coffee. And so in order to get that input, I'm going to need some kind of a tool over there in the toolbox. And I think a text box is the best thing to go. And so right now, I'm going to give that text box a name. I'm going to call it reg coffee amount. Okay, so when I'm designing the form now, I know I'm going to need a text box called reg coffee amount. Now, input is not going to respond to an event. So I need, what was the other one? Decaffeinated. So I'll write decaf. And I'll call that, it's going to be input, and I'll call that text decaf amount. Okay, again, no event for that. Okay, next I'm going to think, so now I need to add that together, and then I'm going to show them how many pounds, so that's output. See, I got to show them how many pounds, and then I'm also going to show them how much they owe. So, for output, we've been using labels. So now I'm thinking about output, and so for output, I'm going to have, I'm going to show them total pounds, right? So I'm going to use a label, LBL, total pounds. That's what I'll call it. And also for total pounds, I'm going to, also for output, I'm going to show total amount. And so for total amount, I'm going to use a label, LBL, total amount. How about that? All right, so I think I've got all my input, my output. Here, this is something I'm going to use inside the program. Now, you can let the user know that the cost is $11.65, but it's not input, and it's not the output that they're looking for. I would consider that to be a constant that I'll use in my program. Okay, so how am I going to make the stuff work? What's the user going to do to make it go from input to output? Well, I'm going to have some buttons, okay? So I need to get the data. Get data and calc, right? So I'm going to call that button calc. I like to use button calc because it does the calculation. And then the get data and calc button is an event. So I'm going to, when the button is clicked, I'm going to read the input from the text boxes. I'm going to do my math, and then I'm going to put the output into the labels. And then we always add, end the program, just kind of typical. And it's typical to call that button exit. And, well, when do you run the code? When they click the button, when they click the button, so the event is click. And there is my toe chart for that. So I hope that helps you when you're working on your toe chart for number 5 on page 96.